We're live on the internet, so watch your language. Okay. So what we're going to play around with next is styles in a word process. A web file. So let's go play with our second page. So on our second page right now, we have two different links. We have two places that have a heading 3 and we have a heading 1. And we can change the way these look in ways that are reusable. And that's what my goal is today, to show you some reusable ideas for style. So to play with styles, you need to go to the panels menu at the top. And under panels, we want to see the style properties panel. So go to the top of Blue Griffon, click panels, click style properties. And something should eventually happen. Come on, honey. Where are you? Oh, mine's hiding. Right there. Yours probably is floating on the page like this. I recommend pinning it, and pinning it will throw it over to the side. If you don't see it on the side, hit that little dashed bar on the side, and that will make it reappear. So we want to get the styles property. If you need any help doing that, let me know. So again, to make that happen, you go to panels. Oops, I hit the wrong button. And you choose to turn on the style properties panel. That makes a floating panel for you to play with. And you want to pin it, which will throw it into the right side. You can expand that side if you need to. So that way we can see the style properties together with the web content. Anybody need help making that happen? Style properties on the side. All right, everybody else need help getting that going? You're good. Yeah, you're on the right side. Good. Mine just looks a little different because I was playing with it earlier. So the style properties toolbar is broken up into categories called general, color, geometry, position, layout, a whole bunch of other ones. And when you first get into it, they're all locked up like this. To open them up and see what general means, you click on it and it opens all these options that you can mess around with. So let's just play around with some style options for fun. Let's take our first paragraph and highlight it here. So we're on page 2, second page, first paragraph. Things we can play around with here are the font size. So we could demand a special kind of font size. We could say make it smaller, make it larger. You can define a font in terms of pixel height like you do in PX, or point size like you do in Word. There's other kinds of measurements called EMs and PCs, and you've heard of inches and millimeters, I'm sure. So we have all these different ways to define fonts. I could make it a medium font. Oh, cancel. Before I actually change anything, we have to pay attention to how the style is applied. So at the very top of the style area, it says apply styles to this element through its ID. Anybody here have an ID? Okay. You have an ID? What kind of ID, Zach? You have a driver's license. Okay. Can I borrow your driver's license? I'm going to go drive around and cause some harm and then show that to the police when they pull me over. Is that okay? Is that all right? Yeah. Like when they pull me over? Would anybody upset if I did that? Like I went to the convenience store, took some food and left, and they said, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm this guy." Okay, so I probably wouldn't get away with it, right? But an ID is something personal to you, right? It's a unique identifier for you. And that's what it is in a web page too. An ID is unique. If you apply it in one place, you can't apply it somewhere else. Like in this room, there's only one Gary Parker, there's only one Zach, right? Unique. So we're not often going to make unique IDs, but sometimes we will. If you hit the down arrow by apply styles to, you get some other ones. All elements of this class, I'm going to work our way into that in a minute. All elements of this type. Ooh, let's check that one out. So we're going to apply the style to all elements of this type. So the question is, what type of element am I playing with right now? Well, once I choose that, it will tell me. Anybody remember what a P stands for? P stands for paragraph. Yes, P stands for paragraph. Okay. So if I make a change here, since I said apply styles to all elements of this type, anything else on my page that's a paragraph will also get affected. So for example, if right now I decide I want this to be bolder, all paragraph stuff gets bolder. If I say make it lighter, all paragraph stuff gets lighter. Is it possible I want one paragraph bold but not another? Totally possible. Okay. If that was my goal, then where it says apply styles to, I would choose all elements of class. So let's switch to that for fun. So we're going to switch all elements of class. Then it says, oh, really? What's the name of this class? Well, like the people in this room, you guys are CS 120 Section 2, Spring 2015 at BMCC. That's your class. Right? We can pick any name for this class, like, how about cool paragraph class? Cool paragraph. That's too much stuff. How about just like cool pair? That's easier to type. Usually you want your style class names to be something descriptive. Like I wouldn't want to call it ABC or XYZ. Like what the heck does ABC or XYZ mean? It should be short but meaningful. So now I want to apply styles to all elements of this class. So now, since this is what's highlighted, if I say make it bold, it only makes this area bold because it's applying the class to what I highlighted. Let's see, what else could we do here? We could add a font family. So if you click the plus by the font family box, you could grab some other kind of font like Algerian. I hate Algerian. I mean, I like Algerians. I just don't like the Algerian font. Sorry. I want to be politically correct. Andalus. I'll get Algerian out of there. Minus. So to get it, if you pick something you don't like, just click back on it and click the minus to get it out of there. Oh, that's not bad. But I think I might want to bump it up a little, like make it larger. Oh, that's cute. Maybe the bold needs to go away. So we can play around with styles till we find something I like. Okay, what other things do I have to play with here? I can make it left aligned, right aligned, center, kind of like in Word. I can do decorations like underline, overline, strike through, uppercase, small caps. I can adjust the spacing in between. Notice that color isn't in the general section here. But if you look down a little farther, it has colors. So here, would I be playing with the foreground or the background color if I wanted to change the text? Any thoughts? Text be the foreground or the background?
Foreground.
It would be the foreground because the text sits on the page is the background, yeah. So we'd want to change the foreground color. So we can click that, and then we can pick any color we like it's a lovely day for purple. So I click purple, and I choose OK. And then it should make that highlighted stuff purple. So just to double check, I click off of it, and it is a light purple. Now, just something to point out. So just click somewhere else, like click in a different paragraph once you've done all that stuff. And it should say up here that you are in a paragraph in the second toolbar. Under that, it says this has no ID and no class. Click back on the paragraph we just screwed with. Now you should see it says this is a paragraph that has no ID, but the class is cool pair. If I decide I don't like the way cool pair looks, then all I do is make sure cool pair is selected in the style section here, and I just change whatever I want to change. Like maybe that purple isn't doing it for me. I want to pick a different version of purple. Let's make it a little brighter maybe. That one right there, perhaps. Okay. Oh, that's better. But I think it needs to be bold too. Notice I don't even have to highlight the whole thing because it already knows that whole region is called class cool pair. As long as I'm in there somewhere, anytime I change cool pair, it'll change it everywhere. Okay. It gets better though. Check this out. So after go home, I'm going to start a new paragraph and I'm just going to type some stuff. Oh, I didn't want that highlighted or hyperlinked. If stuff is hyperlinked and you don't want it to be, you can right click on it and say remove all links. Oh, come on. Seriously, do I have to highlight it? And try it again, remove all links. There we go. And so I'm just going to type some stuff over and over again. Hyperlinked it again, stop that. Highlights, right click, remove all links. Every once in a while, if the link is the last or first thing in the paragraph, and you try to go to the beginning or end of that, and you hit enter, it tries to hold on to that link and extends it, which is going to be a problem. There's ways to avoid that. I can show you in a minute. Zach, how do they make it? Oh, how do they make it repeat? Well, I just highlighted it once, like this group right here. I hit copy, and then I just hit paste, paste, paste. So I just made a new paragraph where I typed some stuff. And now if I just click in that paragraph, I could go up here to where it says no class and say, please make this the cool para class. And it applies that style to that whole group of stuff I just typed. Kind of cool. Even better, if later, let's say a friend of mine walks in and says, man, that purple is hideous, change it. Say, okay. So I go to my style properties where I can see that I'm editing cool para. And then I say, oh, fine, we'll pick a different color. And I go and I want to make it like green instead. And I click green and I click OK. It changes everything that had the cool para style applied to it, which is kind of nice. So I can make one style and I can apply it all over the place. And then if someone says, you got to change that, rather than having to change it in all the 100 places it existed, all I do is make one change and everything like it is affected automatically. Can you see how this makes like taking care of a website a lot easier? It does, makes it a lot easier. So then someone else says, that yellow is hideous. Stop that, Gary. Give up on colors, dude. You don't got it. So I say, fine, I'll just make it black. But the font's nice. Okay, thank you. I like the font. So let's repeat that again. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our heading 3 here, about Scratch. And here's the cool thing. From the beginning of the word about to the end of the word Scratch, if I look at the source, that's where the opening and closing tags are for heading 3. So if I want to change the way it looks, all I really have to do is click in there somewhere. I don't have to really highlight the whole thing. We're going to make that look different. So now we're going to go over to our style. And my style property says I'm clicked in the area called H3 about Scratch. I want to apply styles too. Now here we have 2 options. We could create a whole new class to edit this, or we could just say use elements of the same type, and that would make all H3 elements, all heading 3 elements look this new way. So what do you think? Should we redefine the way a heading 3 looks, or should we make a new style? Good idea. Let's make a new style. So that means we want to use all elements of class. And let's see, what's a good name? Let's see. We're going to make a cool new heading. So how about we call this class cool new heading? How about cool new? Oh, fine. Cool new. But it's a heading though, right? It's not a paragraph, agreed? So I think we should call it cool new heading. Sorry, I went. I know, I'm going to type it anyway. So I'm going to type cool new heading. And usually when you do names of styles, I don't like to put spaces in them. I think that might be illegal. Is that illegal, Alex? What? Spaces in the name of a style class? Spaces are illegal, right? Yep, okay. If you really want spaces, you would have to put an underscore in between. I use what's called camel case. And I think it will probably give you an error. Oh, it turns red when you try to put a space in there, like angry, mad red. Oof, get rid of the space and the angry red goes away. So let's see. What should we do to this area? Is it bold enough? Okay, let's say it's bold enough. Is it italics enough? No, let's add italics to it. Ooh, that's cute. And then maybe we'll add a different font. So click font family, add, and then pick some kind of font. So what was that one? Baskerville Old Face. Yeah, it's all right. Doesn't look much different than before. I'm going to go with it anyway. Maybe I want to make it small caps. Ooh, that's cute. Small caps, italics, Baskerville, boldface. You can do anything you want there. All right, let's see. Maybe it needs to have a special color. Foreground color, I feel like blue, a deep blue maybe. Oh, that's nice. And what else? I don't want to overdo it too much. What happens if I put a background color in? Let's see, background, how about very faint purple? Ooh, it makes a whole vertical bar of purple. Wicked cool. I like that. Kind of separate stuff. I like that. All right, now what I want to do next is I want this other heading 3 down here, what is scratch ed, what is scratched, I want that to look the same way. Super easy. All I do is click on it, go to where it says no class in the 3rd bar at the top, and click cool new heading. And bam, they now have the same style applied to them. So again, to do that, all I did was click on that other H3, what is scratched, and then I clicked on where it said no class and chose my cool new heading class. I just turned it off and I'll turn it back on, and it makes that the same thing. So if Sheena comes up to me later and says, Gary, that light purple, it's not working, I can say, all right, as long as cool new heading is right here in my editor, then I can go to the background color and pick a different color, like maybe we want it to be a faint orange. And then everywhere where that class existed gets updated automatically, which is kind of neat. Let's save the wonderful work we've done. Now I know I've made a stylistic mess of my page, but we're just playing around, seeing what HTML is. Let's look at our source. I'm almost done babbling for today. I'm going to talk about the project next. If I look at the source, some new stuff got added to the head. And that new stuff is what's called style. So there's a new group of stuff in between a start style and an end style tag. And in there are all the things I did. Like for cool paragraph, I made it bold. I chose a font called Andalus. I made the font slightly larger, and I decided to keep it black. As far as my cool new heading, that was italic, Baskerville oldface, small caps, color is this crazy number, and the other color is this crazy number. Do those crazy numbers look familiar from the textbook that you guys read a little bit recently? What's that? There's a textbook. No. Hexadecimal. Those colors are in what's called hexadecimal. Hexadecimal, anybody remember what that means? Hex means 6. Yeah, 6. And decimal means 10, and 6 and 10 is 16. Yes, so that means I have 16 different symbols to play with in each particular digit. And the colors are, let's see, red, amount of red, amount of green, amount of blue is the way they're listed here. Okay, and then down here, it says, for example, my first H3 is of the class cool new heading. My first paragraph is of the class cool pair. What would happen if I removed where it says class equals cool pair? I would lose all elements of that style. Suppose, this is on my second page, right? Suppose I wanted those same styles to be on my first page. There are 2 ways to pull that off. I'll show you one way today. Go back to your second page, put it in source view. In source view, in the heading, highlight the line that says style all the way down right before it says head to close the style. So I want to stop right before it says head. So just to isolate that, if I go between style and head and I put a blank line, I want to highlight all the lines from the beginning of the style to the end of the style. And I'm going to copy that, Control C, into page 1, my home page. So to copy that, I have to be in the source, and then after my last heading line, but before it says the word /head, I want to paste in that stuff. If you need help making that happen, let me know. I'll walk around and help you. What'll that do is that'll give this page access to those styles. This isn't the most efficient way, but it's one way. So you want to highlight, you don't want the word "can." You don't only want when it starts the style, where it ends the style. Copy that stuff. After it says title, enter the line. Yeah, and then just save it, and that'll put it in there. Anybody else need help getting that in there? So you want to put it inside the head. So put it into the middle. There from the line. Control. Okay. Source. Get a little bit of style. So you can highlight the starting style. So the word style. Copy that. Oh, you got it right outside Control C. Page. Source. And after the title, insert and run. Enter the word style. Source. Okay, so what that does is now we have access to it. I'll show you a different way to do it in the next class, but I don't want to do too much and blow up any heads today. All right, so now if I go back to the WYSIWYG view on my index page, so switch back to the WYSIWYG view, we can then click in any one of these paragraphs and go from no class to our cool paragraph class, and it will drop that in there. And that did not go well. Okay, so mine did it to the whole thing. Interesting. Okay, so something went wrong there, so let's try and figure out what. So I'm going to click there again, and let's see, if I just hit enter, nope, click, I want nothing. Ah. So to get rid of it, you go, so if you have it in there, you hit the down arrow, cool pair. To get rid of it, you go back up there and click back on cool pair, and that turns it off. So you can toggle it on and off. So if things don't work the way you want them to do, that means there must be something wrong with the source. So let's go look at the source of our index page. So in my source page, after body, it says less than P, greater than. That means start a paragraph. See if you can find where the paragraph ends. Where does the paragraph end? Does it end at the end of the first line? Where does it say? Where's the first slash paragraph after the first one? It's way down here at the end. So when I copied and pasted that stuff in, even though they look like different paragraphs, it was actually just one giant paragraph with line breaks in between. And this is a huge distinction in playing with web browsers or web editors compared to word processors. That was a tough one. There's a difference between hitting enter and hitting control enter. Come on, control enter. Oh, why won't you do it? Maybe it's shift enter? Shift enter, sorry. If you hit enter on the keyboard, that creates a new paragraph. If you hit Shift Enter, that keeps you in the same paragraph but puts a line break in. Right? So let me just demonstrate the difference here. Notice I'm at the last line of my first paragraph, and if I hit the down arrow once, it jumps with a significant space in between those. See that jump, the space in between? That means it's jumping from one paragraph to another. Whereas I go from this line to the next one, they're very tight and close to each other. That leads me to believe that the jump in these two blank lines there, that's just a line break, not a paragraph break. And the break from and blah, blah, blah down here is an actual paragraph break. So just test this out with me. Go to the end of the first sentence or first couple sentences where creativity runs wild. Go to the end where it says run wild and hit enter on the keyboard. If you go back to your source now, you should see that there is now a paragraph, end paragraph marker at the end of while where there wasn't before. Whereas if I go back up there to my WYSIWYG view, and let's say go to the end of, it says with Scratch, blah, blah, blah in the online community, end of that second sentence paragraph thing. If you hit Shift Enter there, okay, so Shift Enter, go back and look at the code. In the source code, I now see that after online community, it put in a tag called a BR. And BR just means break, line break. And paragraph breaks or line breaks will totally affect the way the document flows and moves and the way styles apply. And once in a while, when you're editing a web page and things aren't behaving and moving the way you want, sometimes it's due to paragraph versus line break issues. There's a whole bunch of other issues that will come up. All right, so I'm going to shut up on style stuff for now and talk about what's coming up for the projects.